So I was right about the census. I'm not happy about that.
Ending on a dark note.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Just
Today was
depressoville.
the release of the ethnic data from the census, and it's actually worse than what I predicted. Not much worse. Basically, within a margin of error, I'm basically right. Which I think my predictions bore out. We'll go through in a minute. But if you want to support us, go over to our merch store. It's merch.lotus.com and get this wonderful t-shirt that I designed. They are lying. We know they're lying. They know we know they are lying, and yet they are still lying. And this isn't Solzhenitsyn, although it is the sort of thing he would say, which is why it's constantly attributed to him. But the point is about this, and I love the general theme of this quote, because it shows you the total lack of respect for the people that the people in charge have for you. You know, that's the thing that really bothers me about this. It's like, if they can look at you in the face and know that they're lying to you, and know they're lying, and yet they're still just blabbering out lies. Like, that's the end of any kind of like accountable civil society. You know, that's what a tyranny is, and that's why I like this so much. So if you want to go support us, go get a t-shirt, and we'll begin. Because last year I produced this article. Earlier this year, March this year, I produced this article saying, the census data proves that Britain was not a nation of immigrants. If you can just scroll down to the graphs just so you can see it, right? I just went through the census, that graph, right? So you can see the percentage of the population that was immigrant. I mean, that's the raw numbers. You can go down just so you can see the percentage. Like, you scroll down just a little bit more. There we go. So you can see that back in 1961, it was like 3%, right? This is not a nation of immigrants. This is a modern phenomenon that happened in the 20th century.
I'm shocked.
Right, it's shocking to know, I know.
It's annoying because it actually is for quite a lot of young people.
Yeah.
Just have no concept.
Yeah. This is new. This is since 1997 when something happened, and historians are still yet to uncover what
we're close.
In those remote times could have happened.
I love that meme.
Tom Harwood's team of researchers just night and day sitting around, just something occurred. Anyway, so as you can see, this is the case. And in this article, I was going through just lots and lots of data on it, and I put that the Oxford Migration Observatory's net migration to the UK between 2011 and 2019 was 251,000 people a year. And so if we assume that was an average for 2020 and 2021, we get a total of 2.51 million new migrants for the decade ending in 2021, putting the total number of foreigners living in England and Wales at about 13.4 million of a total population of 58.5 million, assuming the overwhelming majority of those did not move to Scotland, which of course they didn't. This would make the foreign population of England and Wales about 23%, up 4% from 2011. And centralised mostly in cities. Including estimates of illegal immigration, it is conceivable that somewhere in the region of 25% of the population of England and Wales is now foreign, as in non-English and non-Welsh. And I was basically right on the money there, wasn't I?
Sadly, because the data came out today.
Yeah, the next one was the first batch of data that was released about the census was what I covered in the specifically foreign-born. And so 1 in 6 residents of England and Wales are just directly first-generation immigrants, which is a huge number, 10 million in 2021. And I predicted a population of 58.5 million, and actually it's 59.5 million. So there's an extra million people that were unaccounted for.
And so this data was released in 2021. Between this data being collected and now us speaking, there's an extra 500,000.
Yes.
Because Conservatives just love us, I guess.
That's just amazing. In the last year, another 500,000. So that's 60 million.
So all this data is actually the reality is even worse than the data.
It's actually out of date already, because every year the Conservatives...
The rate of change is getting so fast.
Yeah, just raise the gate and just keep bringing people in. So yeah, it's now 60 million people. But anyway, we'll go on the 2021 data just because that's what I wrote out. And of course, this is driven by immigration. Anyway, let's move on to the 2021 ethnicity data. So in 2021, the 80, if you go to the next one, just so we can actually see their data, 81.7%, which is 48.7 million of the usual residents in England and Wales, identified their ethnic group with the high-level category of white. Now, that just means skin colour. That doesn't mean actually ethnicity. That means race. Where you come from, I mean, there are, believe it or not, lots of white people who aren't English in England. They're called Albanians, Cal.
I know. I can't get over it. You do run into so many people who can't make that distinction. You just think, how do you function?
But also Romanians, Poles, Germans, French.
Swede.
Yeah.
Although I love it. I love Salmonella's versions. Like you got Swede, Slovak, Slovene, Slovene, like Spanish, and that's just the ones beginning with S in Europe. Like there's a lot of ethnic groups.
There are, and they're all white. But they say, as part of the white ethnic group, 44.4 million of the total population in England and Wales identify the ethnic group as English, Welsh, Scottish, Northern Irish, or British. A continued decrease from 45.1 million in 2011. And so in the previous article, I predicted that there would be, quote, approximately, I said, we can reasonably estimate that the 2021 census shows there to be approximately 45 million English and Welsh people, because there's been actually a remarkably consistent number. So 44.4 million, pretty reasonable estimate. Pretty accurate. Yeah. To the nearest million, okay, I'm a bit out. 0.6 million, 600,000 people out. But roughly correct, right? So this means that in England and Wales, 1 in 4 people is not English or Welsh. It's mad.
Never used to be like this. Wasn't like this 20 years ago.
No, God no.
Yeah,
It's mental. Like, and it's because
it's even worse than that because, as I said, there's another 500,000 to add on somewhere.
there is. Yeah, again, this is
Not to mention the 70,000 illegals that came last year
Yeah.
alone.
so this
Oh,
this
that's sad.
this is just mental. Frankly, the next most common high level ethnic group was Asian British, or Asian Welsh. The hell's an Asian Welsh? Welsh is an ethnic identity. Ethnic identities are things you are born into.
Yeah, he could be Asian Welsh. Do you remember that guy when we were campaigning in Pontypridd? The lad we met.
Not offhand.
It was the cutest thing ever.
Oh, was it?
This Asian guy with a Welsh accent. It was like your brain had to do a double take for a minute.
Okay. But like, fair enough. But anyway, the Asian population is 5.5 million. The Welsh population in Britain is 1.7 million. So there are nearly 3 times more Asians in Britain than Welsh.
Yep. I think there are more Pakistanis than Welsh.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to the nationality data, although we covered this previously, and we're running out of time, so I don't know if it's too terribly useful. But the thing I think you wanted to talk about, actually, was the decreasing number of people who describe their national identity as English only, switching to British, right?
Yeah, this is... I don't know if you can scroll down until you find a graph, because that's probably the best way to represent it. And you can see like 20 million people changed their answer in 10 years.
To British only from English only.
So in 2011, you had basically a small number of people just saying, I'm British only. And most people said, well, I'm English.
That doesn't make any sense anyway.
No, but it would be someone who's sort of like a child of empire, disconnected from whatever place they came from. So they just become British only.
Yeah.
And it was quite easy, because then you could actually track things, and it had been going on like this for every other census. And then in the last 10 years, presumably because of the Brexit referendum, this happened. 20 million people have changed their vote from being English to being British. So now this is useless.
Yep.
I can't track anything with this. So,
but also, it just goes to show you the sort of the dissolution of the English identity, right? It's like, oh well, I don't feel like I am English. So why not? You live in England. Why should you not feel like you're English? It's like, no, I just feel like I'm occupied by the British Empire. Thank you.
20 million people.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable shift.
It's just deeply disappointing. Just the concept of England and the English is just being erased. Anyway. I thought that was quite interesting that people who identified with at least one UK and one non-UK identity were only 2% of the overall population. So these are the people who are the product of intermarriages, right? Now you'd think, normally, the way that in history, like when one tribe would move into the area of another tribe, you would intermarry. That's how you blend the two together, and that's not happening. So this is what we can see is integration is just not really happening at all.
There is a solution to this. It's pretty authoritarian.
Well, wasn't it like they did in Peru or something?
That's what I was going to bring up. I think it was Paraguay.
Paraguay,
where I might be wrong. It might be Bolivia. There was the local Indians and the Spanish colonists, and there was racism. So the new dear leader decided, I don't like racism. I'm going to solve this. He made it illegal to not race mix. So if you wanted to marry someone, it had to be of a different race. So all the colonists had to marry the Indians, and the Indians had to marry the colonists. There were a couple of generations, nobody could tell a damn difference. So, pretty authoritarian. But
Got the job done though, didn't it? Yeah. No one calls Paraguay a racist country, do they?
we need to be anti-racist.
But the point is, this is only 1.2 million people. That's a really small number.
Yep.
considering the number of foreigners here. What's also interesting is those who selected a non-UK identity only, so not even like Asian British sort of thing, was 5.8 million people. So these, I think, you could call the mercenaries. I'm not British. I don't care. I'm just here for the money.
Yeah, I've met a few people like that in my life.
Yeah, just literally, I'm just here until you have an economic collapse, bro.
God, I met a Saudi lady once who was the worst. She was just like, I hate everything about this place. I can't stand your culture. Highly Islamic all the time. She's like, I'm just here for the money. I'm like, oh, great. Glad we gave you a visa.
Yeah. But they'd be the mercenaries then. So, yeah, and it's just generally, like, disappointing. You were posting about them being essentially psyoped into not being English, which I think is probably the way to do it, the way to suggest it. Do you want to explain this graph?
This is the diaspora. This is something we don't think about in the West for some reason, but we do with every other ethnic group. I thought, why not match it? So this is I had to do rough data because that national identity data is now worthless.
Yeah.
But if you run the numbers, this is what the diaspora of the English look like all over the globe. And there are a couple of other small minorities, but they're not really worth mapping, as you can see. So the majority of the English don't even live in England.
That's true,
That's the first thing.
But that's interesting, isn't it? Because that implies there are about 90 million English worldwide.
Yeah. And most of them are out. Well, most of them are in the UK, and then the second biggest group being the Americans, where they're just hanging out there, and Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. There's some rough estimates about what's in South Africa, but the data's too crap to actually use.
Right.
So there's that. But
Okay.
I thought people might find that fun.
Yeah. And so the ONS has given us the ethnic composition of England, which I think is interesting. Again, it's going to be about 75% English and Welsh and Northern Irish and Scottish, and then 25% just other. Wales, though, the composition of Wales is a bit different. 93%, eh? So you can see where the immigration is centralising.
Yeah, this is the other kind of annoying thing for us, because we want to look at where we live, and frankly, yeah, okay, England and Wales are brothers and all that, but
Sure.
if we wanted to actually look at the reality, I would carve them off and just, can we map England?
Yeah.
But the data agency won't do that for some reason.
Yeah, it's weird. But yeah, the immigrants aren't mostly going to Wales, or even proportionally going to Wales. So this is changing the character of British cities. English cities specifically. You may remember John Cleese saying, well, London's not an English city.
It's not even close anymore.
No. In 2011, it was 44% English, and so minority English even then. And we had a sweepstake going through the office, didn't we?
Yeah.
What did I say it was going to be?
Can't remember.
About a third. What is it now?
36.
36%. So, about a third.
Because that's 36.8 there of
Yep.
English, Welsh, Scottish, Northern Irish, or British. And, well, a lot of those aren't English, so
Yeah,
delete those numbers. You
I'm probably about right.
yeah. Well, certainly.
Yeah.
So, there you are.
How did I know? So about a third. So I'll take everyone's tenner.
Just repopulate the cities, guys. Take them back and say,
Bro,
I have no idea.
the world is just too big. Okay. And there are other major cities that are minority English. It's not just London, obviously.
No, I think it was just London last time.
It was. No, I think Birmingham actually. Although Birmingham might have been like 55% or something
I
like
have
that.
to check.
Yeah, but now it's more. Sorry, can you get back up the list you Callum had given, John? Just 'cause I can't remember what it was. London, Birmingham, Manchester, Leicester, and Luton.
And those are the 4 local authorities where we know for certain it's less than 50% English. The problem here is those local authorities are quite big, as you can see. So when we get the more detailed data, whenever they release that, like by literal place, it's going to be a handful of more cities are just gone.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, don't look at the London boroughs. It's like 90% non-English.
But shall we have a look at the London boroughs later?
Maybe we could later. Anyway, and so you get things like this. This just annoyed me. This is just Albanians celebrating their national day on the streets of London. It's like London, not an English city. No, it doesn't look like it, does it?
No, it's anything but.
Yeah.
That's the weirdness about all this, is we have pretty much every part of the world except England now.
Yeah.
In London.
Yeah. I mean, look at this. Why?
Yeah. Beautiful
Why?
dresses, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah, it's lovely. But this should be in Albania, should it not?
Yes.
They're celebrating their national independence.
Like either do this in Kosovo or Albania. That's
Yeah.
the place
Why?
to be. You literally have those places on your flag. I saw someone there with
Yeah.
the Greater Albania, including Kosovo. In which case, well, it doesn't include London, doesn't it?
And I'm sorry, but you can't look at this as anything other than an attempt at colonization.
There we are.
Like, how is this not colonization?
Oh, it is.
It's just what it is. It's just, don't get me wrong. I don't think English people should be moving to Spain and flying English flags all over the place, like clogging up their major cities.
No,
Flying. No, of course not.
you're an arse.
Yeah, exactly. Deport them if you want, Spain. You know,
Even as a tourist, I feel incredibly rude when I have to speak English to people.
yes, but at least you can say, look, I'm visiting and I'm giving you money.
Yeah.
So at least there's that.
But if I'm occupying, your housing market and everything else,
Yeah, it's just terrible. And as Nigel Farage points out, we are actually pretty much the only country that accepts Albanian refugees.
it don't exist.
But yeah, there's no such thing as an Albanian refugee, just so you know. There are illegal immigrants, millions of them, or no, hundreds of thousands, really, isn't it?
Scroll down on this, so just country by country. So what we've got here is the acceptance rate. So you got Albanians applying to a bunch of countries, and then we have the Czech Republic, Liechtenstein, Croatia, Iceland, Denmark, Finland, Slovenia, Luxembourg, blah, 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 blah.
On your bike.
Who 0% success rate.
Or on your boat, should we say.
Well, not for those landlocked ones, but it's just that almost nobody says yes. Of those who do say yes, you've got Ireland, who have 3% acceptance rate, Belgium 3%, Italy 20%, presumably because they feel bad about the war, France 2%, and then us at 55% acceptance.
Why?
This is what I told you about earlier, corruption. Like this whole system, we don't accept them because they're legitimate refugees, but because we think it's easier.
Germany accepted 0.
Yeah.
Love my zeros.
Because they know.
Yeah.
Like it's not difficult.
Yeah. Anyway, this the data has also revealed that Christians are in fact a minority in England and Wales now.
So that's 1,300 years of history ended, said English
Coming
Heritage.
to an end.
Well, English Heritage this
Slowly.
morning
Yeah.
mentioned that it was Christianized in I think 700.
Yeah. But probably a bit earlier, but yeah.
But majority rule,
Yeah.
1,300 years, gone.
Yep. Do you want to know what the Archbishop of York said?
This is a good thing.
Not quite, actually. He said it was not a great surprise there's a declining number of Christians in the UK.
I'm crap at my job.
Yeah,
This way.
exactly. Well, this is just before quietly killing himself, just...
Your one job is to get people to be Christians to save their souls.
Yeah, and he's like, well, I can't do that. I mean, the Archbishop of Canterbury's a bloody leftist. What am I supposed to do? So, it's
Not
just...
a great surprise, I don't do much work.
But then you got the humanists' response. Do you want to know what the humanist UK response is? Totally in touch with reality. This should be a wake-up call which prompts a fresh reconsideration of the role of religion in society.
Shut up.
What role of religion in society?
Shut up. There isn't one.
Yeah, exactly. That's
we had-
why Christianity's dying.
Like, the Queen is a representative of God, and that's about it.
Yes,
Sorry, not the Queen. She's dead. Oh,
the king. But yeah.
keep forgetting.
But yes. So it's just mental. It's just mental. Like the country is just... This is what Tony Blair has done to us. And the Conservatives are allowed to continue happening to us. There were a couple of things you wanted to add at the end, though, weren't there?
Yeah, I made a couple of graphs.
on
Thought
then.
people might enjoy posting them at Tom Harwood, maybe. So we'll go to the next one here, which is just mapped. Here's England, because remember all the hoo-ha about is London an English city anymore? Well, you can map it, can't you?
Yes.
Because the data's released per place. You can actually go and just click on it.
Look at those less than 25% English.
Yeah.
Doubled
So this is
in the last decade.
almost in line with the predictions as well. In fact, a couple of
Tripled
boroughs
almost.
went red instead of green.
Yeah.
And there you have it. They're whole... Nothing left, really. That's what's left. Only in 20 years. And you hear people like Romanian or whatever say, I visited London in 2003. I'd love to go back. And say, you ain't going back. It's not there. It's a different place. There's
mad.
so many Americans I bring to London and show them about, and just the disappointment on them every time.
Oh, yeah. I've had loads of American friends come over and be like, so where do the English live then?
Yeah, every time.
Yeah.
Every single time. Because you show them the buildings,
Yeah.
and you can sense it in their eyes. They're like, you're looking at the Colosseum. Where are the Romans? Well, they're gone. They're not here anymore. They live Italians.
You want to go to like Bath or Durham or, somewhere else.
Yeah, it's not there.
Yeah.
There's literally no point. If you want to visit England, going to London, you are wasting your money.
Mad.
And being fleeced by foreigners pretending to be, the capital of England, frankly. That's that. If we go to the last one here, we can see just one more note. Oh, no, this was the same thing from earlier.
Yeah.
But the worst authority, I don't know, you won't be able to, but and you can see in London there, just on that graph, there is the most, I don't know what colour that is.
Teal, brown,
beige, well,
beige, yeah.
a woman. And the area in there, Newham, it's 14.8% English. It is the most non-English place in all of the country. And me and John have been there many a time, doing various jobs. And I used to not understand the phrase, this place looks like Kabul. I always thought, frankly, it was boomers being a little bit too far.
But then you went to Kabul, then you went to Newham,
Oh,
and you were
yeah.
like,
Well, you think of these places as still the sandy dunes of 1800s or something. No, they've got chicken shops and everything else, and you go to Newham, they've got chicken shops and everything else. It's the same place.
international fried chicken
Oh yeah,
conspiracy.
I'm not kidding. They actually think that's like high class, so that's why they all build them. So,
Are you suggesting they're not?
well, maybe not.
Racist.
Depends on your setup. But the thing is, like, the only thing that makes that place even look English is just the builds. Like, the buildings the Cockneys used to live in once upon a time are still there, and
Yeah.
they've changed the front of the shops, and that's it. The place is not English in the slightest.
Well, it's just not occupied by English people.
14%. 14% English.
John Cleese is right.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the premium articles we do, this one on accessibility in video games, a sign of the times, with an audio track for Silver and Gold tier members. If you'd like to find out what else we're putting out, you can follow us on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.